This is a favourite one of mine, and the one I like to go to is an example that we have of using automation for shutdowns through our integration. So I'm talking about automating processes from planning and scoping right through to work execution and everything in between. So we're taking out the need for manual inputs of data back between asset management systems and shutdown planners, and also automating the procurement piece so that when you've locked down your scope, your procurement piece can take off and we get a real-time feedback of how your procurement of materials is going.
Typically what we try and do is focus on the why. So what is the actual value of the engagement itself and actually finding a solution for the problem. We think it's really important to collaborate, and by that I mean it's not a unique issue. It will exist somewhere else within the industry itself. So to collaborate with people within your business, with your business partners, even within your peers and sometimes your competitors, because there will be a solution out there. The important aspect of it is around being able to execute and deliver, and that's where it becomes even more challenging, because what we need to do is actually keep it simple, and we need to break it down and make it manageable and repeatable, and then actually deliver on what you've actually said that you're going to deliver on.
I think importantly there's this relationship between our new ways of working and also some of the technology that we're bringing in with digital that's helped go through COVID. And so the answer becomes, how do we keep going? How do we become more resilient for whatever comes next? And I think the answer is a balance between our new ways of working and practicing those, because we've been thrust into it now. And then where do we take that now? So we're used to working remotely and doing video calls, but how do we work our jobs basically remotely and take away the need to be out in the field?
We're finding that the workforce itself is actually significantly changing, and a lot of this is around the ageing workforce. Not only that, we've got more diversity within the actual workforce itself. What we're finding is that roles are being completely and utterly redefined, and this might be that different skill sets are required, it might be that less manual interaction is required. We're trying to open up opportunities for the ageing workforce themselves, as well as perhaps less skilled workers. And so from that, why there are other ongoing drivers around things like the introduction of automation, for instance, and this can sort of further affect the type of workers that are required. There's a driving demand for mining organisations to be more connected. And we find that is because the social norm has changed. So people are wanting to have a more stimulated personal life and working environment. So there is a significant demand to have these various different toolings to be sort of more collaborative, interactive, and communicate more within the actual organisations themselves. This is very prevalent when you start looking at the younger generations coming in. They're very, very used to using specific types of mediums to actually connect and communicate amongst each other. We're finding that if employees don't have these mediums within organisations, they're not attracting the newer, younger graduates, etc. So we find even simple tool sets like things like Microsoft Teams, for instance, bringing in aspects of chat and video and telephony, your discussion boards and what have you. This just makes people feel more connected, and it just brings in that external aspects back into the actual work life as well.
So first is know your data asset. And what I mean by that is, what is the data that you have in your domain? Is it centralized? Is it siloed? Understand what your data is. And I think then number two is, how do you access your data? Is it accessible? Can your company access those pieces of data to put it to use? And how easy is that for them? And then three, most importantly, what's the value of your data? Now that you know what it is, how you can access it, what's the value of putting that data together and using it?
So So license to operate or a social license is a significant risk, and I believe that's not just to an organisation, but it can be, we have seen it as an industry as a whole. Where, like for instance, of technology can help with that is around providing that accessibility to information, providing that openness of interactions as well. Where finding that technology can also help from this aspect is around various different monitoring systems, alarming, alerting. You have various different systems like your water management system and your environmental control systems. We also find there's a lot more around integration of data and then making that data available to the general public or a compliance arm of the government, for instance. And this is examples of this might be, for instance, in carbon reporting or energy reporting. So having that transparency of what's actually happening within the organisation and the availability of the information to the public. And we're finding that what that's doing is really helping from a community perspective as well as a cultural perspective within the organisation.